This video is aimed at you as the buyers, so that you get a better understanding of the actual auction process, and it will give you confidence to actually purchase the property that you've selected by auction. You have to do what we call in the trade the due diligence. Get some experts to look at all the documentation that will be provided to you by the agent who's handling the auction of the property. Typically, there will be a copy of the title for the property, a copy of the limb. Now, there are two documents that your lawyer in particular will be very interested in. You'll obviously need to have had a discussion with your bank or financier, and particularly here in Christchurch with your potential insurer for the property. The vendor may have also provided a building report for you. However, it's there just as a guide for you. It's not for you to take and say, right, this is absolutely 100% perfect, because we don't even know that. You may even potentially consider getting your own building report done, because if it turned out that that building report had missed something by accident, you will not have any comeback, because that report that you'll be given has been commissioned on behalf of the vendor, not on behalf of you. Typically also, you will get documentation around what has happened to the house after the quakes, what work might have been done to it, and all that documentation is obviously necessary for your insurer to have a look at, and probably your bank in most instances, just to make sure that as much as possible, whatever repair strategy has been undertaken has been done correctly. I urge you, particularly if it's an older house in Christchurch that was around during the quakes, spend a bit of time looking through that building report if one's made available, through that insurance documentation, and really think, okay, are you prepared to spend a little bit of extra money and have your own expert look at the property? So you've looked at all the documentation, you've got your finance in place, it comes to the day of auction. What happens now? There's no doubt about it, you're probably going to be a little bit nervous. It will always be beneficial if you take the opportunity to go out and look at a few auctions of other houses, perhaps the week or two before your property is due to come up for sale. If at all possible, go and find properties where the same auctioneers are likely to be selling the properties, and learn before you're actually sitting down bidding yourself. In most cases, you'll have a lowish figure that you probably hope you can buy the property for. Then you need to have a figure that's probably realistically what you believe the property is worth, and you are prepared to bid to that level comfortably. But then have in the back of your mind what we'd call a fighting fund, and that's that little bit of extra money that if you need to, you are prepared to purchase at that level, just so that that can hopefully get you across the line. Equally at the same time, a vendor, they'll have a reserve which will be set with the auctioneer, and that's their hope to get price and figure as well. But they'll also be asked to bear in mind their bottom line figure. They don't normally tell the agent, they don't normally tell the auctioneer, and with a bit of luck, the price you're prepared to pay and the price that the vendors are prepared to accept will come in line, and then you get the chance to be the lucky purchaser of the property. If you decide to bid and buy the property, you'll be required to pay a deposit straight away, sign the documentation, but from that point on, you will be, in essence, the legal owner of the property, with settlement to occur in 2 or 3 weeks' time. So just make sure you actually understand that point first. An auctioneer will normally ask for an opening bid or offer from the floor, or they may literally make the first bid themselves. It's usually at a level that's below the reserve mark anyway, so it's quite comfortable that you can probably place that first bid and get it out of the way, because as soon as you've made your first bid, it'll be a little bit easier for you to get involved in the auction should there be more competition down the track. Now, one of two things can happen once you have placed your first bid. You may find there are other people in the room who start bidding, in which case then you can see them, you can make a decision, will you pay a little bit more, or you make a bid and no one else bids. The auctioneer will make what's called a vendor bid. A vendor bid is essentially a counter offer from the vendor. So if you're still keen, bid again, and then it will get to the stage after the second, perhaps the third at the most vendor bids, the auctioneer will just simply say, if there's no more bids in the room, I'll pause the auction and we'll have a discussion with our buyer outside of the room. And hopefully you can reach an agreed price with the vendor and yourself, with the auctioneers going backwards and forwards. And at that point, if you can reach an agreement, they'll probably come back out to the auction rooms. The property is essentially on the market, and if there's no further bidding, the property gets sold to you. In reality, if you've spent the time, effort, energy and money to do all the due diligence to put yourself in a position to bid, you need to bid so the auctioneer knows that you have serious interest in the property. If you elect not to bid, and no one else bids in the auction room, the property will end up by being passed in by the auctioneer. If there are other buyers who are perhaps conditional, have houses to sell, have finance to still tie up, you will then have them as extra competition, and you are going to more likely than not be involved in what we call a multi-offer. You'll be asked to make your very best offer, one chance at it, and you may miss out completely. So this is one of the big advantages that you have as a cash buyer. You are only competing with any of the other cash buyers there on the day. So hopefully that explains a little bit about buying at auction from a buyer's perspective. If there is any other questions you need answered, ask and really talk to the consultant who is selling you the property. They are there to help you, giving you the confidence, the information, everything you need. Good luck with buying your property at auction.